we discovered is that the 2017-2018 AUP was not complete. That was in early April. So, by regulation, by statute, that AUP has to be submitted within 30 days of the close of your fiscal year. And for whatever reason, it was not. So we discovered accidentally that we were not current. So conferred with Mrs. Mayor and asked her if she could be done by the 1st of May, which Ms. Feargard had asked for that to be the suspense date. And Ms. Mayor said, no way. So there are two ahead of you. I just can't get to it. There were some other things discovered in that period of time, and I will take full responsibility for making the decision to forward our financial records for the 2017-2018 fiscal year to Crawford and Associates in Oklahoma City.
I need to bring my medicine here.
Want to use mine, Jesse? I got some really good stuff.
I brought some with me.
I'm quite proud of you. So here we are. And our financial records are in Oklahoma City at Crawford's. I want to explain to you a little bit about who Crawford and Associates are. They're a worldwide firm. They do business with big companies. Yet there's only 25 employees. They're a small outfit, but big reach. As you can imagine, they're probably pretty expensive. But I've been assured they're going to do everything they can to review our financial records and give us a kind of a report card, a feeling of where we are at. I think that's very important moving forward. Quite frankly, from what I can discern, and I'm familiar with budgets and familiar with fiscal year reports, I really can't make head or tails of it, to be honest with you. So, that's the introduction. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. I'm sure my contemporaries up here are going to have a lot of questions. So let's discuss this. Let's talk about it.
Where did you come up with Crawford Associates?
Crawford and Associates was recommended to me by Miss Janet Smith. And Miss Smith is familiar with them because of previous experience in her public service life in Crescent, Blackwell, other places where she has applied her skills and her education. And they've been very effective, as I understand. And I might add, we are very fortunate to have access to people who know people. I mean, we are very fortunate to help us move forward and to discover our status. We have to know what our status is. Where are we today? It's a good question. Yes, sir.
Mr. Sandbeck, Jordan Green, Blackwell Journal. How long have the records been with Crawford and Associates as of today?
We would have went down a week ago Friday. Yeah, so on Friday it will be 1 week, George.
Okay, and to follow up to that, have you had any have Crawford and Associates contacted you with any findings thus far from the work they've done?
There was contact made today, and they actually can access the files online. So they can search, they can do cleanup work, they can validate data, and they can discount data. In other words, they can sift through and tell you what is real and what is not. So they are in that process. That's my understanding at this time. Yes. Quiet. Thinking. There's a way to really rationalize the decisions to move forward with this action. If we do the AUP, and I want to explain what AUP is. It was a foreign term to me just not very many days ago. But agreed upon procedures focus on what a client, the customer, specifically wants to look at. It is an engagement between Braman and an accountant to issue a report of findings on specific procedures based on the company's direction. In other words, based on which way we want to go. The procedures to be used are agreed upon in advance, and hence the name agreed upon procedures. Because this is not a full financial statement audit, you will decide, you, that being us, we will decide on the type and extent of procedures to be performed. Although the auditor's report does not express an opinion on the findings, that's important, it does provide a very detailed accounting of the procedures used to prepare the report. So in other words, they will tell us all of the standardized methods and procedures that they use in order to come up with the document for us. These are proven methods. This can result in better accounting practices in our company. In other words, it's almost like an advisory or a bulletin, where they will go through everything we have and they will tell us the procedures they use to look at our stuff. And then they will tell us what we could do better, or what we are doing better. Now, this is where it's real important, the difference between an audit and an AUP. AUPs are used for small communities throughout America. I mean, it's a common practice for small towns. But if we want to qualify for the big grants, the really big stuff, talking millions of dollars, we have to have a full-blown audit completed by a CPA or an auditing company. So we know that with Ms. Meyer for an AUP, we spent $3,650. We know that has been her rate. Her rate for a full audit is about $5,175, plus there is a $100 filing fee with the state auditor. So there you have it. So we're at $5,200 and change, let's say. Okay. With Crawford and Associates to do a full audit, I can tell you it'll be more than that, but it'll be very thorough. And then I can also tell you that we have not had an audit in this community for years and years and years and years. And through research, I can tell you we have never submitted our budget or our audit findings to the state auditor. And I'll tell you what that means. It means we don't get our gas tax. After 2 years, it's gone. So we're not getting all the benefit of the tax that should come to our community. What it also means is that we're not qualified for any of what I call the super grants. We can get the nice grants, $150,000, like was arranged, and that will do something. And some communities do that. That's how they approach it. They have $150,000 here, $200,000 there. They do a little part of the town at a time, move on to the next part. But what do you bet on every year? You bet on being approved. Rusty, you know that from your time in the grant community. You bet on being approved. It doesn't always happen, does it? So when you get into the big ones, then you get into federal law and audit requirements. And anything over $750,000 federal dollars puts us in a whole new ballgame as far as what we have to do in order to administer that grant. But to even get there, we have to be qualified. And to be qualified, we have to have a full audit. That's where we are. Yes, ma'am.
Why haven't we had an audit before? That's been so many years.
I cannot answer that, Jerry. I don't know. Probably expense, maybe, or maybe it's just the way it was always done. I can only surmise. Yes, sir.
Do you have a ballpark figure on what the Crawford full audit might cost?
Not their full audit, but I can tell you what a forensic audit costs. A complicated forensic audit, one that really digs into how the money is managed, it studies the flow, it studies processes, that's going to be $50,000 to $60,000. But then again, that's something you would probably do when you're going to go to court, because the findings in a forensic audit are admissible in court. They're considered evidentiary. We're not going, I mean, we don't need a forensic audit. We do need a full audit.
How was the town paid for the audit?
Cash. Well,
Yeah, we can get the city.
yeah, we can get in the safe. We found the key.
Good.
On the AUP?
Yes, ma'am.
How much is that gonna cost with Crawford?
We haven't discussed the AUP because it's really not, it doesn't make sense to do an AUP
You
with
do a
Crawford.
full audit with that.
That would be, I mean, that has to be the decision of the board. However, at this point, it's the only thing that makes sense, really. I mean, we're going to spend some money, we're going to spend some amount of money on an AUP. If we spend twice that or 3 times that and have a complete, full audit and understand where we are, this is your money. It's not my money. This is your dollars and dimes. This is the taxes you pay, this is the fees for utilities, whatever. Every nickel in every account that this town has is your money. And I'm here to make sure that it's taken good care of. Believe me. Yes, sir.
I believe what we're getting at though is that the audit, the full-blown audit makes more sense. Bang for our buck right now, because once we get this audit done, we're gonna be able to register for grants again, and we're going to be able to get a hold of some major grant money. That's
And we might even find favor with the state auditor.
wow. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, I was just telling you, wouldn't that be a first? No, hey, that's really serious stuff, though. I mean, you have 30 days after you get your audit to get it together. I mean, you have to look at it, and you have to approve it. Mr. Shaw?
Would a full audit with Myers, would that accomplish what we're trying to get done?
Ms. Myers has declined to do that.
Okay.
I asked. Mr. Pepperman?
What does this audit actually audit?
Every nickel that we have in our possession, every expenditure for the period of time, 20, I'd like to do it for this year, but we can't because we got to do 17 and 18 first. That has to be done. So 17 and 18 will be our springboard, but to give you an idea, Ralph, of what that is, for example, we have 2 savings accounts. We have a checking account. We did have 5 CDs, now we have 2. So all of our accounts payable, all of our checking, all of our deposits, anything that has to do with anything financial down in Braman will be covered. Anything and everything. Full audit, full blown. They cover it from A to Z. Every penny. And their findings on a full audit will be very clear about discrepancies that they find. Not admissible in a court of law, is my understanding. Forensic audit is the only cat that can do that. But it is very telling, it is very clear, and it will advise the board on the best pathway. Now, we may have assets we are not aware of. We may have losses we're not aware of. It's important that we are aware of everything. And I want to further state that the results of this audit will be clear and transparent to every citizen of this greater community. Every citizen of the greater community. Freedom of Information Act guarantees that. And we will see to that that happens. Yes, sir.
Mr. Sandback, if in a full audit, something is found that may be deemed criminal, how could the information in that audit be used if anything were to be taken to court?
Well, that would be the determination of Mr. Hermanson, the district attorney. If there is sufficient, let's just do a hypothetical, because that's all we're dealing with is hypothesis at this time.
Yes, yeah, we can't.
We don't know, but let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say that the audit comes back and there's something in there that's not very good. We, your board, don't really know what to do with that because it's maybe a big deal. The prudent thing to do, and we're going to get to something else here in a little bit, but the prudent thing to do would be to consult our legal advisor and make determination on the best course of action. And I can say that may, it doesn't have to, but it may include the district attorney. Yes, ma'am.
Could this audit come down onto the town negatively? Is it only coming out on positives? Can it break us in a way?
That's a great question, Brittany. The audit is going to tell us what it's going to tell us. We don't know.
So it could be bad.
It could be, and it could be good. It's going to give us a clear view of where we stand financially.
So we could, like, what if it's something the whole town as a community has done wrong?
Oh,
Or is it just come down onto,
I don't foresee that happening.
this audits they're kind of like a checklist. You know, it's like you have things that you do every day,
yeah.
and the audit will tell you how you're doing that, if you're doing a good job or not such a good job. And so as far as the community, the reason for doing an audit is to make sure that we are at the place we're supposed to be. We're shepherds, we're stewards of your money, and we need to know where we are. Yeah. Make decisions from that point. Great question. Yes, ma'am, Megan.
And also, is the forensic audit still considered a full audit if we decide to go that route?
Well, forensic audit is about as deep into financial transactions as you can get.
Okay, so would that qualify us for the larger grants for our community?
Well, the full audit will do that. The full audit takes us right to federal USDA levels. I mean, big money. As was reported a couple meetings ago, I believe, I have to look in minutes, but Mr. DeWitt reported that USDA has some $23 million they're looking to give away. They have two applicants. Two. Does that mean each one's going to get like 11.5 million or something? I'd like to be number 3 on that list.
I had one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if we do the 2017 and 2018 audit, okay, would that even put us in favor of grants for this upcoming year? Or are we just kind of starting off a clear block and we have to wait until we get all this done and then we have to come up with the funds for the 2019 audit to do that?
We have to do that, but here's the thing. The statute is very clear about our responsibilities as a municipality on audits and on budgets. And at the close of the fiscal year, June 30th, the clock starts ticking. We have 30 days to get our house in order. I mean, we have 30 days to get our audit paperwork in, and we have to report and submit our annual budget. I believe that falls, so let's just say 30 June. By 30 July, we better have our paperwork, our budget down at the state auditor. And we better have our financial records at our CPA, whoever that may be, to start the process. What's happened to us from what I can tell in reading the records, is we waited, and we've got 9-10 months later, and we don't have it done yet. That's what's killing us. So once we get 17 and 18 done, we're gonna have to turn right around and get after 18, 19. But an AUP, a good clean AUP will probably get us through, but we've got to know where we are. We've got to know where we are. It's tough decisions. Yes.
I just really feel as though we need this full audit. I mean, it would be in the best interest of the town. I do. And then, saying that, I would like to move that the town considers contracting Crawford and Associates to perform an audit of the 2017-2018 financial records.
We have a motion on the floor. Mr. London, I call for a second, and seconded by Mrs. Johns. Is there any further discussion at this time? Start fresh, start new.
See what we have to work with.
Where you stand,
Yes, sir.
good or bad, it's
Mr. DeWitt.
Mr. Mayor, if we're gonna do an audit, and we have to get the 17-18 done, but we're gonna follow up and do one on the 18-19, would there be any advantage of going ahead and contracting both of those? Would it be any savings to the town?
Wonderful question.
You mean to do the AUP for 17-18 and then the audit for?
In order to get the grant that's been talked about,
Yeah.
we gotta have a full audit on this year, on the 18-19.
Okay.
It's a great question. I don't know if we get a 2-for-1 deal or buy one, get one. I don't know.
Well, I just wondered if maybe there was a discount by doing both years.
Well, we can,
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
I would imagine if we talked with them, all the
we can't amend the motion on the floor, but I'll call for a roll call vote on that, and then we'll have a little discussion after, but we'll dispense with this motion. Roll call vote.
Mr. Sandback?
Yes.
Mr. Lund?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns? Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Great question. I'll ask tomorrow. And that will be reported at our May 7 meeting, which, by golly, that's our regular meeting. Hey, we're gonna have a regular meeting? What do you think? Hey, did you ever hear that? You remember that song by Gene Pitney, A Town Without Pity? I'm gonna try a week without me. Awesome, thank you, Paul. Okay, so we are moving forward, contracting with Crawford to do the 2017-18 full audit, and I will talk with them tomorrow and see what we can report next week. Fair enough? Awesome. Item number 2, discussion and action regarding job descriptions and advertising for municipal clerk and utility technician to include discussion of independent contractor provisions for the utility position. Oh, I burned some midnight oil on this one. And, yes, sir. Not contagious, is it? Thanks. So, we got in the books and did the job description on the permanent part-time clerk. Permanent part-time. Naturally, we cannot have any discussions between meetings, so I don't know what my colleagues are thinking on this, but I'll just throw this out here and away we go. That's why we're having a meeting. Hello, Cody. How are you? So, The Town of Braman, Oklahoma governs under the provisions as stated in the State of Oklahoma Statute Title 11. And that is the statutory form of town government. We are statutory 3. It's a very difficult form of government, as you can imagine, because we can't talk to each other. So, under this statute, the municipal clerk shall be responsible for duties as outlined, as well as other duties that may be assigned by the municipality as stated in the Oklahoma Municipal League Handbook. More specifically, and this is in quotes, the town clerk shall be an officer of the town. The town clerk shall, number 1, keep a journal of the proceedings of the Board of Trustees, and number 2, enroll all ordinance and resolutions passed by the Board of Trustees in a book or set of books designated for that purpose. And number 3, have custody of the documents, records, and archives as may be provided by law or by ordinance, and have custody of the town seal. And number 4, attest and affix the town seal to documents as required by law or by ordinance. And 5, have such other powers, duties, and functions related to these statutory duties as may be prescribed by law or ordinance. The person who serves as town clerk may be employed by the town to perform other duties not related to the position of town clerk. The salary or compensation, if any, I like that part, if any, for said duties shall be provided for separately by ordinance. So, for the purpose of the permanent part-time town clerk, the vacancy as it currently exists, and that was as of today, 1 May, the specific job description as it relates to the town of Braman, Oklahoma is as follows. And again, this is just something I put together for discussion. Number 1, the position is declared to be permanent part-time. The schedule hours per week are established to be 16, with a maximum work hour allocation per week established as 24 hours. City Hall office hours of operation are currently set as follows. Monday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The office is closed on Fridays, weekends, and all officially observed federal and state holidays. The Town of Braman Municipal Clerk currently processes billing for municipal utilities, manages payroll and monthly accounts receivable and payable duties, answers the telephone, directs messages to trustees and other employees or contractors of the town, and performs office custodial tasks as needed. Additionally, the town clerk coordinates the efforts of and communicates with individuals charged with grant writing, fundraising, and other municipal development programs. The Town of Braman Municipal Clerk monitors compliance with budget parameters, provides services customary with basic comptroller functions, and assists the Board of Trustees in providing recommendations relevant to annual budget and fiscal audit requirements. The Town of Braman Municipal Clerk may be assigned other duties from time to time by Town Board of Trustees at their discretion. Qualifications for the Town Clerk include proficiency in keyboarding and computer skills, demonstrated competency with Windows, Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, Quicken, and other common office management software, basic bookkeeping skills including data entry and retrieval, reporting accuracy and meeting timeline requirements are a must. The position involves daily contact with patrons and visitors. Accordingly, a record of and the ability to provide exceptional customer service experience is necessary. A high school diploma or GED is required. Previous experience in customer service environment and formal certification or certifications and/or college coursework related to the opportunity is desired. Because this position requires the municipal clerk to be bonded, a background investigation will be conducted for those candidates qualifying for final review. Additionally, the Town of Braman requires a drug-free workplace environment. Accordingly, all employees and/or independent contractors hired by the Town of Braman will be subject to drug testing and screening procedures per municipal policy and guidelines. This position is compensated on an hourly basis, normally scheduled at 16 hours per week. The hourly rate of pay is dependent upon experience, proficiency, and education to be determined by the Board of Trustees. This permanent part-time position does not provide health, life, or retirement insurance benefits. Overtime compensation is not authorized for this position. However, 5 calendar work days of paid vacation, that's 16 hours, are authorized after the first year of employment, as well as 5 calendar days of non-paid vacation are offered annually, beginning immediately upon employment based upon the currently established work schedule. The Town of Braman is an equal opportunity employer compliant with federal requirements as outlined in the Federal Labor Standards Act and Americans with Disability Act directives. For more information on this opportunity, please contact the Town of Braman City Hall offices at 385-2169. I think I got down at about 2 in the morning one day here. Yeah. James.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
We said here that it would be Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Office is closed on Fridays, so
Yes.
that would be a 4-day work week.
Right.
What was this about the 5-day work week?
Well, it's compensated. They get 5 calendar days off.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
based on 16-hour days, because the position is authorized up to 24 hours. So you could offer a 5 calendar day vacation after the first year. And there may well be times where we are well into that 24-hour time.
As an antidote to that, I would say that I was contacted today by a very qualified individual that was interested in the position, but it was, she was interested in a full-time position. I don't know if she'd be interested in part-time. I told her that we're still looking at it, it's up in the air at the moment. But we would be figuring it out, and posting it in the newspaper within the next few weeks.
I thought when we started talking about having it in the evening, we was gonna have it on Tuesdays. That way we could.
Yeah, it is Tuesday. It is Tuesday. I thought it said Tuesday. Tuesday.
Okay, 4 to 7.
4 to 7
Okay.
Tuesdays. Yeah.
I got the wrong one in. Okay.
Yeah, Thursdays wouldn't make any sense. No. Why would you have somebody work Thursdays when you got them off Friday? They want to get out of town. Why are you going to have them work? Yeah, they use up all their sick leave first year. So that's kind of long-winded deal, but fortunately or unfortunately, the requirement to be very specific on the job requirements is incumbent upon us to do that. So, and some would say, well, why such a skinny work schedule? Well, maybe it's because we got a skinny budget. I mean, honestly, I will tell you just the experience these last couple of weeks and the amazing volunteers that have pitched in. It's incredible what we've managed to get done in just a short period of time. And I'm very grateful to everyone who's showed up to help out and make this possible. I believe that we can do a lot with very little. I believe that. I think one time, some years ago in the military, I served during the Reagan administration, and Mr. Reagan was rather frugal. And some of us old crew chiefs on the flight line, we said, we've been doing so much with so little for so long, we can down to anything with nothing forever. I think if we find the right people who understand the mission here, the mission of recovery and revitalization, I think we can do this on low budget. There's a number of books out about something called Six Sigma. Six Sigma. It's lean manufacturing and operations. Sean, I know you're familiar with that. And it tells you how to trim, how to get very lean and get a lot of production out of limited resources. And I will tell you that these packages of people that show up here to help, there's a lot of resource in each package. A lot more resource than we're aware of sometimes. A lot of talent. A lot of talent. Very grateful to Winetta for coming back and serving with us 12 hours a week. Very helpful. She's a great trainer. Phyllis comes every day. It's like, Phyllis, you take day off. No. I think Phyllis is now a fixture. And that's fine with me. That's fine. We're having a lot of fun. And I think we're going to see that in other places. before Saturday's event with the fire department, and, we knew we were gonna have people coming to town to visit, so there was this thing about Bob Goebel comes up. We're gonna talk about Bob in a minute. You hear Bob? Nope, guess not. Good, we can't talk about it. But he took it on himself to clean these gutters out here. Here he is with the trencher. And he's driving down the street, and I'm thinking, what are we doing, laying pipe here, or what? And he's pushing this dirt up in piles, and he's got a couple of kids that he hired. His own money. He hired them. And put them to work. A couple of kids that need some cash, right? That works, doesn't it? So by the time the helicopter and everybody got here for the fish fry, guess what? This place looked pretty spiffy. That was done with people that said, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Volunteerism. That's how we're going to get out of this mess. And I will tell you this. I will never ask you or expect you to do anything that I won't do. I'll be right in there pitching with you. I know how to use a shovel. I'm 71, I can still throw that dirt a long ways. Can I, Chris? So what do you think? Ma'am?
Can we hire somebody before we get the audit? Before we know where we're at, if we've got money to?
They're not related to each other. I think we have enough to fund that. And so the audit lives by itself. The audit is an entity all by itself. We have to let that do what it's going to do. But we still have to do business. And so, I don't know, is it a 3-week requirement, Darlene? Do you know, is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What is it?
To run another paper?
Yeah.
It's 2.
2? And then what have you done in the past? Like Woodford, Blackwell, Honka, what? Arc City? So 4?
I think we've had our city.
We didn't do our city?
No, we had Newburgh and Onka and Blackwell.
Is there a requirement? 3 papers? Is that satisfactory for advertising?
There's not a requirement.
Not a number?
How many?
Not a minimum?
2 weeks in a local paper is about the only requirement that they have, so you can go out further than that. At the last meeting, I think Indeed was one of the suggestions. They posted on that.
But we need something besides the local paper, because no one reads it. I'm sorry. But there's very few that takes a lot of paper.
Facebook is a very good medium for getting out the word, so people respond to job descriptions on there.
Scott, can we put it on the website?
Yeah, I don't see why not. As long as it gets approved by the
Board,
yeah.
Can we start up, does Braman have one of those, like Blackwell has their own little
Community talk.
community, yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was not, I don't think that was started by the city of
Yeah,
Blackwell.
that's not
I
the
think
city.
it was an independent person that started that. It's more of a, pardon my language, bitch gossip session. Thank you.
But if you start your own Facebook, you can limit who can,
Right.
you can be able to approve posts or unapproved posts.
Well,
You
just
have
their own
a-
website.
But they can take a
But if they have a website, just put it on there.
Choose, the city government's in the right page, if you pick and choose who they
Want
want.
to have the
You
calendar.
can't be blocking people.
We're working on the calendar right now, right? So,
Well, alternatively, you could post it on your personal page, and then you can all share it, and then if it makes its way over to Blackwell, we'll post it on ours too for you.
Marv had an idea about that you was telling me about on Facebook, Marv.
Yep. You can, and it was just mentioned, you can actually have a Facebook page that there is no garbage on.
Right.
It's a one-way deal. It's kind of like your own universe, and you put on there what you want, and nobody can comment back or take shots at you or anything. You just set up the administration, and away you go. And we have the expertise to do that. It certainly isn't me, because I'm not a Facebook guy. I've just not had good experience, so I stay out there. I can catch enough heat without Facebook.
That sounds great. My only concern was having like lewd comments.
Yeah,
that we
you-
could not get rid of.
No, they can't comment. I mean,
Okay.
If the administrator has to approve each post.
I mean, from the community.
Yes, if like you posted something and I wanted to say, well, that's stupid, you have to approve that. Well, you're not gonna, because, you know, it's dumb. So there are some that you can't post on without an admin approval.
I don't know if that would be legal for the town to do that.
It's not
Yeah,
for
you
the town.
can't.
Yeah, we
It's
can't
not
do
for
that.
them, yeah.
No, because you can't censor.
Yeah,
Right.
because it'd have to be.
Yeah.
Well, you can turn the comments off,
Right.
can't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
be like an
And then it's just your
Yeah.
posting,
Yeah.
yeah.
it becomes more of a bulletin board.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd
I-
be perfect. Get a
Yeah.
bulletin board.
Yeah, you could do the Braman Community
I mean,
Bulletin.
as long as.
BCB? Raymond?
But then again, we can
BCB?
also have a bulletin board on our website too.
Or at
It just
least get
depends
the
on-
website address out there because
Exactly.
nobody knows that it's there.
Oh, they
Just
will.
type in
Chamber
Braman
have
and you
a
get Braman,
Facebook
Georgia.
page?
Oh.
Does the chamber have a Facebook page?
Yes, we do.
Maybe we could piggyback something on there.
Do you have comments turned off on the Facebook page? No?
I do not know.
Okay. All right.
But if nothing else, you could share it to them, make it public to where they can share it, and then we can all share it, and it's gonna get further than,
Does that meet legal muster for advertising? It does, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess the first thing is,
Do anything for work on the computer all day long, I don't.
There's, well,
Donna.
there's also a page for jobs in K County. I'm not for sure of the correct name of it, and that could be a good place that would hit a lot of communities.
Okay, let's dispense with this one. The job description. Any comments? Meet muster with you folks?
I think he did a good job.
Okay, so we will hold this then at City Hall, and when we make the advertising, we'll refer to, look up descriptives at Braman City Hall. Job application and job description at Braman City Hall. Fair enough? That'll save us quite a bit of money, won't it? All right, I would move to entertain a motion to accept the job description for the municipal clerk as written.
now you will put that on the Facebook page, they could even get to there, right,
Uh,
to look at it?
And you can do that.
Yeah, we could, it would be a link. It would be a link.
A link, yeah.
Link, yep. And that'd be on the chamber page, on the, was it K County? Did someone say there's a K County page?
Yeah.
Okay,
As far as putting that on the chamber, I'll find out. We got a meeting Saturday.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, it's next Saturday.
First thing we gotta do is accept. And I would entertain a motion. Okay, we have a motion from Mrs. Johns to accept the description as written. I move to entertain a second.
I'll second that.
Second from Mr. Lund. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sandvik?
Yes.
Mr. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Motion is passed. We have a job description, and we will get this on the electronic media. Now, this is just a discussion. Can we just select electronic media, or do we have to define it, where we're going to post it?
Well, we have our town website that we're working
Right.
on, so we want to post it on there.
Website?
Mm-hmm.
Also, we want to post it, if we can, coordinate with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
On
It's
the
two.
Facebook page.
And Donna? K County? Some kind of K County?
I think it's under K County Jobs.
It's K
Is that
County
on
job
Facebook, or
postings.
is that-
Cody's got the name.
K County job postings.
Is
Will you get that to me, Cody?
I can.
Thank you.
Is that a Facebook page?
It's
Yes.
it's a Facebook page. There's probably actually like 3 or 4 of them, to be honest.
Office City Community Jobs, there's all kinds of different
All right,
ones.
and we'll run it for 2 weeks. See what happens. Fair enough? All right. Okay, so we've taken care of item number 2. Discussion action regarding the job description for our or I'm sorry, for the utility tech. We've got that second part of that, the utility technician. This might be a little bit bigger deal. And it's a bigger deal for several reasons. And again, I haven't discussed this with my colleagues, but there's a number of things that we need to take care of. However, being a small town, we don't need to take care of them very often. So let's just talk about, for an example, water. We have leaks occasionally. I think the most I ever saw in a month was, what, 4? Something like that. I think Damon one time reported 4 in a month. 4 water leaks. We have water sampling that we do. We do both bacteria and TTHMs and DEQ stuff. We have a lagoon to maintain and mow and so on. So there are things we do. Now, as far as mowing at the lagoon, we have people to mow, so we can get that taken care of. But it's the technical aspect of things. Do we want to take on a person as a single source of assistance, technical advice, expertise, or do we want to have multiples of options? And let me explain. An example is the town of Blackwell. They have a complete staff of experts that head up their water department. I've been in conversation with Jim Booth, and he is the water guru in Blackwell. And Jim has been up here and taken a look at what we have, and he found it to be rather straightforward, rather easy to do, as far as our daily or monthly requirements. The problem that we will face is when we get into a maintenance issue, a failure of a line, failure of a valve, water leaks, etc. Then we need to have somebody respond. The trick is, how quickly can they respond and how do they respond? Do they respond with their equipment? Do they come and use our equipment? Do we have multiples of people who can respond? Travis Holbaugh said that oftentimes in county work, they may have, for specialized help, they may have 2 or 3 or 4 people lined up. The lowest bid is the first one you call. That's your first contract. And then the second lowest bid would be your second go-to, because maybe the first one is busy. So you have multiples of people you can call. It's kind of a cascade in reverse. You're going up the ladder instead of down. How do you feel about that? What do you think we need in our community?
The only thing that I don't like about your contract, you might be looking for them for an hour, 2 hours, and here we're sitting with no water. Yes. That's the only thing I like. Electricity I can do without. Water.
I believe you brought up the idea of having some sort of list of first responders, utility people that would work with us on utilities.
For example, Bob Goebel, okay? You know, Bob used to be a council member. Bob is retired. Bob's a mechanic, can do about anything. He's getting long in the tooth like me and some of us. But you know, he's a guy that's willing to do work. He's willing to respond. He's around town a lot. But we need 2 or 3 of those. We need 2 or 3 of those people. David DeCosta stopped in yesterday. And I had not met David before. David is a TIG welder at Mertz. He can do a lot of different things. And he wanted to know about work, and I said, hey, you know, we don't have a full-time job, you know, right now. And he said, oh, okay. Well, he said, I'd be looking for full-time. And then I asked him, well, would you be willing to be on call? You know, if we have an issue, would you be willing for us to call you? Or would you be willing to do small projects like on a weekend or whenever you can? He said, yes, absolutely. So he's filling out a job application. Maybe we need to think differently about the employees we have or the people we have servicing our needs. And we buy what we need when we need it. we purchase what we need when we need it. Again, efficiencies. Example, how much would it cost us to have a full-blown fire department sitting here in Braman, ready to go at a moment's notice, 24/7, right? Cost prohibitive, can't do it. But we have volunteers. They are trained, they're certified, they're capable of responding. But they have another life, and when called upon, they respond. That's an efficient way to go about it. Can we develop it? Brittany?
I still think that it's important to have someone here, like, I know cost is the problem, but I still think it's important to have someone in town that, you know, works part-time or a couple hours here and there during the day, because there's some problems in town that if, you know, Damon wasn't here, we would have never caught it in time until it becomes a big issue. If you got someone that's working here part-time, then they're always looking out for it. They don't have to work for, you know, all day, every day. But someone
You'd
that'll
like to
catch
have a
it.
part-time position, somebody that's here so many hours a day,
Yeah,
Community members.
yeah.
or somebody that's, you know, within a reasonable response time.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that there are DEQ requirements for who your employees are. They have to have water licenses in some circumstances. I do know that there is a DEQ consent order that in 2017 is noted for the town of Braman. That is significant, and that does require that you have somebody that knows something about water. And, you know, I had talked with Marv about the possibility of working on a mutual aid type agreement where the guys from Blackwell could come help out and make sure that all of your compliance issues are being met, you know, because you still have to take your samples of your water and you have to send those off to accurate labs in Stillwater. They have to be within certain areas of agreeable standards for your drinking water. And that does require that you have somebody that's coming in, taking those samples, sending those things off. And and that's a completely different aspect than water breaks and things like that. You know, that does require somebody that you would call in to do that type work. But then you have your maintenance and operations. So those are two things I'd like to just make sure that you're aware of.
The town clerk, like you mentioned, I mean, to do like, can the town clerk take the water sample? She can be trained, you said 16 or 24 hours. Can you add and have them do the water sample or go read water meters?
Oh, no, they have to type and take notes.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, and then you
They
just
have to
have your
answer the phone.
maintenance person and your town clerk, and that's where she can get extra hours, or him, sorry.
I like your thinking.
But I mean, yes, so there's someone,
Okay.
they can do that, and then you can worry about your maintenance.
I want to throw something out.
That person would need to be trained.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here's something I'd just like to throw out as an option, and you're right on as far as versatility of employees. In the military, we used to call it cross-training. They would do a lot of different things, and I know industry does it, Lowe's does it, Home Depot does it. Yeah. So here's the deal. Because of the technical nature of both water and electricity, I would be in favor of, as a bridge, to get us where we need to be. I would be very much in favor of looking seriously at an arrangement with Blackwell. And Jim Hoos has been up here. He knows, he talked to Damon today, he knows where we are, what we need to do. Another option for us, of course, is Blackwell Rural Water, and that's David Mavis. Yep. That's another option. So we have a couple of options of already certified people, and they can come up and roll our requirements right into their requirements. Blackwell Rural Water comes up here anyway, but There's something very intriguing that I like about Jim Hoos. Jim's been in the water business a long, long time, and he understands every aspect of it. Would Jim Hoos be the guy that could be kind of our crew chief and look out for us, be our shepherd in that area, and train people to help, the clerk, if you will. Jim teaches them the ropes, shows them what to look for. If a citizen calls and says, hey, I see something here, I'm not sure what that is, the clerk, being trained by Jim Hoos, can go out and go, oh, I'm not so sure, and that person can call Jim and say, I think you need to come here. We got something. Okay. You know, I think we need to stay close to the experts right now. So,
Ronnie, are you, have you talked to Rural Water?
yeah, I talked to JD this morning. Well,
Okay.
David was here this morning. He did a back T. Didn't you do a back T?
He was in Blackwell today.
Yeah.
I know that.
Were they? Okay.
The rural water, the county water and.
So, you know, we have a couple of options here, but we need to explore them and we need to act on them because we've got to get things in place. Rusty?
And there's some requirements on taking care of the lagoon too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's, Jim and I drove out there yesterday. And,
You've got to have some training to be certified.
yeah. He said the young, not anymore, Dakota, I guess, is the inspector that comes here, and you kind of, with Dakota, you kind of got to throw him a bone, you know, you got to leave a couple of things out there for him to find, because he's going to find them. So you just leave a couple of things there. Like right now, I know our fence needs fixing, so I'd have Dakota look at our fence, you know, or whatever type thing, yeah. You know, it's serious. Lagoon is a big deal. And Jim said our lagoons are in great shape, very good shape. Sir. Yes, Ralph.
All the water comes from Blackwell, the rural water and the Braman water. But how come we have to check our water here? Does it change that much coming from Blackwell to here? Does it change?
We have, I believe it's 2 or 3 chlorine stations between there and here that it runs through. And filtering and chlorine processing stations.
Then it goes to about a 9,000 gallon tank out there and sits. You know, some of it sits and then it starts going this way. I think they hit it right up here at by the Kelly's.
Yeah, right by Kelly's.
Yep. And then they hit it again for TTHMs. Then they'll hit it at the south end of town by the parsonage. And that's where we'll find our issues because of the old pipes. That's another thing Jim Hoos did, was he looked at the blueprints and the blueprints of our community as far as our water lines. It's the antiquities. It's like a night at the museum. I mean, it's old stuff. 2-inch lines, folks. 2-inch. I mean, this is why we have to qualify for these super grants. We got to get 6-inch lines. And going yesterday and talking, where's Jeff? All right, we went and talked with Cecil Michael at NODA yesterday, and Cecil told us about some, what are they, tag-ons to grants, where you get 1,000 feet of laterals for like free. 6-inch laterals, yes, sir.
My son lives on the other side of the interstate out here.
Yes.
And anytime, he's on rural water. But anytime Braman has a leak and shuts their water off, he shuts his water off too. And we never understand that, but that happens. And he lives on the other side of the interstate.
Not sure why that would be.
Well, take another look at the blueprints. Must be something there we're not aware of. So, we've got to come to some sort of I hate to say it, we got to come to some sort of decision here tonight because we're running out of time. Yes, ma'am.
That's just a quick question.
Yes,
It don't
ma'am.
really have much to do with, well, kind of.
Okay.
But are we gonna have some kind of emergency line that we can call in case of a major water leak or a major electrical problem? That was my problem. My pole was out there throwing sparks and I was worried about my house catching on fire.
No, we,
And I didn't have anybody to call, and finally I had to call 911 to report it.
Yeah.
And then it took them 58 minutes to respond to my house. It took me 34 minutes.
sure
just
dial
to get-
911?
Yeah, yeah.
411?
And it took me to Blackwell Police Department, and they said, oh, they'll be right over. It took
Well,
that
that's-
amount of time
That's
to get there.
protocol, isn't it? Blackwell PD is a protocol for us.
But there's no
Yeah, that's our
access.
protocol. And then in the time of that, we had 3 semis get blowed over.
Oh, no,
on
no,
the-
not that
oh.
night, not that night.
Oh,
No,
okay.
this was a whole separate night. There was no emergencies in town or
Okay.
nothing.
None of
And,
the sparks were at my house.
yeah. They
But
responded
any time
pretty.
like that, I would recommend call Blackwell because their dispatch is gonna dispatch Braman Fire out. So if something does happen, we're there.
I just didn't know if there was like somebody like local that could respond to that, or are we gonna have access to that
It's
ever?
got to do with electricity, I am not coming.
That's me, I don't know nothing about it either, but I just wanted to ask,
That would
because
be
I didn't know if there was some
We
line.
will post a series of emergency numbers. I'll get with the chief and with the emergency manager, the overall doer there. Sean will tell me, somebody will tell me what numbers. We'll get those posted and we'll have copies of those available. So,
Copy on my wall by my desk.
I talked to John Kelly today. He says he's gonna help us get a little better price on some batteries. for
Ooh,
that
yeah,
Storm siren.
that's yay.
The ones that don't, the ones that don't actually give off any vapors cost a little more than that ticket said, because I talked to Napa and they said that was not actually a.
Was it like $400 battery?
Almost, it's like $330 for a
Imagine.
good one, $250 something for what Napa has in stock, so.
So then the tornado sirens will be fixed?
Yeah, and we're gonna get Old Faithful looked at here as soon as we get a decent day.
Well, I don't
They think
even
it's a
stay in
phase.
town now when there's.
They think it might be a phase of power,
Okay.
you know?
Don't be even worse.
Yeah, they, Greg, Six Killer, thought maybe we have a phase down, and that's why it's a 223 phase motor.
It is.
Yeah. So
What size of battery is that, James?
It's a pretty good size, I'm thinking it's like a marine grade battery.
31 MDH.
You said a 31 MDH?
Yeah, 31 MDH interstate.
I might know some people to where we could get a little cheaper than what you're talking, so.
But they do
Okay.
suggest using the interstate batteries.
Right.
I was gonna say Gary Page carries interstate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who it is that's gonna fix it, but he
Can't get
can.
any.
Like power, no.
Yes, that was for like the optimal one, they said that's probably the best battery you can get, is like 250 for the one we get through our supplier up there at Station Napa.
And how many do we need?
Four.
I mean, can we like donate, like I would pay for two, I mean,
Yeah, we can get together and all pitch in some money. I'd be willing to pitch in some money. for
I
that.
mean, I'll buy
Me
two.
too.
Yeah.
I'll buy half.
Me too.
Um,
I'll throw a $100 bill at it.
If we get some funds raised up, we could go ahead and order those batteries.
Seriously, it's our lives.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year we need them.
Okay.
Yeah, look what happened to the people down in Medill area today. Gee, reserve.
Can you figure out
Yesterday.
can you figure out the price of it and let,
Yeah, yes, I can.
let everyone know what the cost
And
total would be?
I'll do some more research, get with Cody on seeing which ones we want to go with.
Well, I will stress that he did say interstate battery. Now, we're getting off the subject.
He said
No, it's okay.
interstate batteries.
I will say, I worked auto parts for a lot of years, and I sold a lot of them batteries. A lot of people don't realize that every automotive battery or kind of battery comes out of the same factory in Pennsylvania. And so, somebody will tell you a brand, some people have lucky with certain brands, that's the way it goes. But you can buy any brand of battery, and chances are it probably came out of the same factory and they just slapped a different sticker
I
on
was
it.
under the opinion that it's a ventless battery
Right.
type that we need.
No nitrogen. No.
Right.
It
James,
goes boom.
if it's, I understand, we can no longer get interstate. Is that right? Napa does not handle interstate anymore.
Yeah.
And O'Reilly's doesn't have interstate. The only place you might be able to get an interstate would be Page Garage. But most of them have quit handling interstate.
Okay. That and Big Ten and Ponca carries interstate, but they'll charge you twice the price.
Hey, I know somebody over there.
Ready?
Or at least they used to, that's been a few years, so.
Back to the utility technician bridge, so to speak. You are the man right now. Ray gets free admission to city meetings for the rest of his life. I'll pay for this. So.
I'll move the motion along that this is for.
Right, this would be.
Labor tax.
Not labor, no, it's utility.
Still number 2.
Right, it makes sense too with Blackwater.
Yes, it does. Well, I'll move the motion along that we go into a mutual labor sharing agreement with Blackwell.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to enter into an agreement, mutual aid agreement with Blackwell City.
As of right now, the city.
Just as a bridge. So there's a motion. There is a second to the motion. Any further discussion on the motion? I would like to add, I will attend the Blackwell City meeting tomorrow night, and I will make a presentation on behalf of Braman that we would seek an arrangement with them, a mutual aid arrangement with them. And so that's where we'll stand with that, and we'll report on that on the 7th next week. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. St. Vincent?
Yes.
Mr. Lund?
Yes.
And Mrs. John?
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3, discussion action regarding job description advertising for miscellaneous labor technician position. This is a new position being considered. To tell you where this came from was Mr. Goebel. Actually, the other day when we were out working, he said, I would be very interested in being a part-time laborer for the community. And, you know, it's, I don't know if we have any advertising requirements for this job. It's simply day labor, miscellaneous, this and that and the other. I don't believe we have any requirement. I want to read you something that kind of blew me away about Mr. Goebel. I've known him for years, but what I discovered is I don't know him. Very modest, very quiet. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration. He has supervised, he's manufacturing manager, production manager of OEM air conditioning systems for Ford, General Motors, Toyota, as well as kit support and supply for aftermarket installations. He has supervised over 200 people at one time, Mr. Bonko. And he's got this neat little machine that I really like. I mean, it's something that can do a lot of everything. He's a certified standards work instructor and a certified trainer of trainers. Trained 550 to 600 people for GM in the application of standardized work in production industry. Manufacturing representative for installation and launch of the first American-made Toyota Hilux light-duty pickup trucks. Who knew? Living right down the street. Bob Goebel would like to work for you. And a good guy. And I like his dog. I mean, you know, if we were to offer Bob 50, or I'll tell you what, he said you can't pay me, but he said, I'll work for you. But if we were to offer him $15 an hour to start, I think he'd just be happy as a clam. And we would have somebody we could call on for painting, or a little this, a little that. And anyways, just a thought.
I have an issue. Not with Bob.
Oh.
Not this.
The dog.
That's illegal.
They wanted to know why we could hire someone like her, and then these other positions we have to have.
Was she not just contract labor?
She was non-employee compensation. So non-employee compensation, is, if you look at her 1099, non-employee compensation is strictly somebody you hire ad hoc, if you will, you know, hire now and then, and that's how she's been hired for the entire time she's been here. That status would not have changed unless the board elects to do so. That's a great conversation to have.
I just wanted to bring it up, I just want to make sure I'm not wrong.
Understood.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you hit up on the street.
I think that we would be lucky to have Bob help us out.
He's right here.
Oh, I suppose he'd probably go for 7.25 is minimum wage, but.
I don't want to give him 7.25, but.
I don't know, it seems to me
And he's
that,
always walking.
you know, I mean, if he's got that little machine that he drags out once in a while, whatnot, I don't know, I think $15 is a minimum to start now. I you know, and honestly, I think he's probably gonna donate it back to some portion or component of our.
How many hours?
Per job.
What?
Just per job.
Per job, per
Not
job.
hourly.
But should you have a thing that says do not exceed this amount of hours? Like,
You never know if something.
anyone,
like it
well,
comes up,
anyone
though.
besides Bob, if he lives here, but anyone besides him might just be standing around somewhere collecting money, but, so it needs to be, you don't wanna just pay someone to do nothing.
I mean, I don't think that Bob would.
Well, I don't think he would, I'm just saying, for instance.
Rusty.
He'd be your quick response person too, you know.
You know, there's, Rusty brought up something really interesting, could Bob be our quick response person? You know, like if we have an issue, we could go out and identify it and make a call to somebody and say, whoa, we got a big leak, or no, it's just standing water, or whoa, big sparky, you know? And so, but Brittany brings up a good point. I'll get right to you, Don. You bring up a good point. You have a parameter, you know, that we have established. So let's think about that a little bit, and willing feedback's important. Good point. Done.
Did you not already hire Jeff to be the first responder?
Jeff he is the volunteer correspondent. He's going to be the first one to the scene in such things as emergencies and so on.
Okay, I just thought that might cover other things. that
This
you
was
think
more
about.
designed to be a help to you guys. He could respond, he could get a hold of Sean, he could get a hold of you and say, here's what we got, you know? So that's,
I thought that was just in general, I mean, you know, others, every.
public safety, that's really his bailiwick, public safety. I don't know if a water leak or a electric would certainly be. How do you feel about that, Mr. Spencer? I know this, you're not gonna get him within 3 miles of a tornado.
Well, I know, he works,
Rusty's got a good point. You know, Mr. Goebel, he said he'd do anything, you know, so could he be, like, first eyes on the scene? So what do we want to say?
He could actually probably start repairs on some of the water stuff too, or at least put a stop to it.
Would he be willing to do that?
Interesting. Handyman, he says, anytime. Are you currently employed? No. You know, so what shall we then say? Because I'll write it down per your wishes, and that's what we'll go with. How many hours a week?
Would it'd be kind of hard to label your hours per week because each job, you know, if he's just doing a job here and there and yonder, it would go per job, you know? You can set your parameter as
Per
needed.
job. Cody?
Would it be smarter to do like a salary-based thing, like per month? Say,
No.
No.
No. No. We gotta buy what we need when we need it. So per job?
Isn't like what we're doing right now, kind of what James brought up about her mowing the yard? Like it's not being advertised, right? So is that gonna be another issue brought up, just like it was for her?
Not for a handyman type job.
She only mows the grass.
Oh, no.
Only?
No, I mean, she does all that, I'm just mean, she's just as important as the handyman.
It's still
You
contract.
can by law,
Well, no, I'm just saying, what she does is gonna be the same as kind of like a handyman, it has to be advertised all the same.
No.
kind of head on it, 'cause we need to, you know.
Hers didn't advertise, she's not paid by the hour. She's not.
I know, but
We need it now.
I'm just saying that's what James brought up, I'm asking if it's not the same thing.
The way she works would probably be the same way he would be hired.
That's what I'm
Tree can do it,
saying.
we'll send her out there.
What, Sean?
Tree can do it, we'll send her out there, she'll be our
Yes,
first
she
response. If she can fix electric and pipe.
Okay, okay.
I'll vouch for that.
Okay, see if I can state this right, if I don't, you can throw something at me. I would move to entertain a motion that we employ Mr. Bob Goebel as an ad hoc handyman per job for the community, and to be determined by the Board of Trustees. Various jobs, various little projects we need in the community, and we do it per job. And the rate of pay, $15 an hour for that kind of work. I would move to hear that motion.
I move that we work on.
Mrs. Johns makes a motion that we hire Mr. Goebel under those circumstances, those parameters. I would move to entertain a second.
I'll second that.
We have motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sandberg?
Yes.
Mr. Lund?
Yes.
And Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we had item number 4. We had a couple of things come up here. One heck of a windstorm and trees everywhere. And the next morning, it was mayhem wrapped in chaos, and out of it all comes Jeff Jackson. Just walks right up to City Hall and says, "Hey, I'm not working today, I can help." He said, could I run the track hoe? He said, "I know how, but I understand it's not mine, but I know how, and I'd be willing to do that." So Jeff Jackson takes his Dodge truck with the boom bucket on it and a trailer, big heavy trailer, and I write a one-day contract. One day emergency provisions contract with Mr. Jackson. And he says, I really don't want to pay, I just want to do this for the community. But I know darn well he had expense that day. I mean, diesel fuel and this and that and the other, wear and tear on equipment. Just, you know, if nothing more, just a way to say thank you, but I really think we need to compensate him in some way for what he did for us that day. It was an amazing act of kindness. And we were, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen so many trees down. But we can pay him under non-employee compensation, a 1099 to be made out, and also, along with Mr. Jackson, someone who's helped us tremendously here, has designed our website, has currently got us on camera. We're streaming live, I believe, is that correct?
That's correct, we're live.
We're live, we're live. And Mr. Jennings also was a safecracker the other evening and got us into the computer. That was amazing. I appreciate it. I just, you know, we don't have a lot of dollars, but I think some dollars are appropriate here. And I would entertain discussion and your input on that. How we say thank you monetarily to these two people.
I would like to propose that we award Jeffrey and Scott like an upstanding citizen plaque. We could have maybe brass engraving on a plaque. I think that would be a good deal. Maybe we can award it to them at the next meeting.
I'll check with Mrs. Robinson.
Or maybe the next meeting after that.
Well, let's see what we
Because it is
do.
short.
Carolyn's pretty good. We just have to have an idea what our budget is for that recognition and also what you would like to have on it. Carolyn is very creative. She's at Ball Trophy in Paca, and she's
I
awesome.
can't do that.
Huh?
I'm not, I can't do that right now.
Can't do what?
She was pointing
Mayor?
Yes, Donna?
Or Jane? I don't know about anybody else, but I hate dusting trophies or plaques. Sorry, I mean, money in hand is better. You don't have to dust it.
Just a minute, let me look.
Unless you
There's a
hold
couple of
on
moths.
to
I
it.
got a couple of moths in here.
I'll tell you what, it never stays in my pocket. That's a good point, though.
I just
That's
think
a very good
monetary reimbursement is better than anything, and everybody can use a little extra.
If we were to hire, I just asked a couple of people what it would cost, what it would have cost us to hire somebody to run a tractor and to do some sawing and hauling after a windstorm. And a figure that kind of came up from two different people was, well, that'd have been about a $3,000 gig.
Whoa.
You know, for one day, you know, a crew pulling, hauling.
Got many limbs that you
Yeah.
guys hauled off? Yeah.
It'd been about $3,000. Because if you have one tree, and we know this from experience, you have one tree that's bad, we got a bid on a tree a while back, $800, one tree. You know, so.
And I want everybody to know that Marv was out there busting butt, hauling limbs.
I got ticks. I got tips.
Hey, I called him the night before and said, hey, you got a problem.
I said, what else is new? No, when I knew I had a problem when I opened the door and the wind was doing stuff I've never seen it do. I thought, this is really not good. You know, this is not good. And I know that the work that Scott did, I know for a fact, breaking into a computer and resetting passwords and getting access to some very important information would have run us just south of $1,000 for that service. So here's what I'm gonna throw out, and I like the money idea, and we got a couple of jelly beans left in the jar. So I'm thinking that each one of these gentlemen, just as a way of saying thank you, $150 a piece, just to say thanks. Appreciate it, and yes, a certificate, formal recognition at the May 7th meeting. Achievements next Tuesday, huh? Well. Oh, boy. So I would move to make a motion that we compensate Mr. Jackson and Mr. Jennings $150 each for their services and a thank you formally at our next meeting.
I second.
We have a motion and a second by Mrs. Johns. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Roll call vote.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I would like to earn a plaque someday, though.
You don't mind messing with us.
I like the idea of the plaque.
We'll dispense with this motion and then just listen. Yes.
Mr. Lund?
Yes.
Mrs. Florence?
And just an additional discussion to that, apparently Mr. Jennings has some pledge and a rag he wants to use. So be prepared, Mr. Jennings, at the May 7th meeting, we might have something to dust. I'll take care of that myself. It'd just be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Any particular size in mind? Walnut?
Probably a 10 by 10 would probably work.
Something like the one behind you.
Oh, that's way too big.
Photo of you breaking into the computer.
One that's easy to dust.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, this is your time for coffee break and cookies. State of Oklahoma Statute 25, Section 307B permits the public body to meet in executive session for the purpose of discussing a specific item or items as listed on the executive agenda meeting section. The procedures for entering into executive session are as follows. There will be a call for a motion to enter into executive session. The body will conduct an executive session considering only the item or items listed on the agenda. When complete, the governing body will reconvene from executive session. They will come back here, announce each item, and call, vote, motion, second, or vote, or take action appropriate with the executive session discussions. In other words, we will have private discussion in closed door session, and we will return here and take action on those discussions. We will vote here. So tonight, what we are considering for the purpose of this meeting and proposed entry into executive session, the following executive session agenda item is to be considered. Discussion, consideration, and action regarding a business agreement and contract for services for special counsel to the Braman Town Board of Trustees. For the purpose of this meeting, special counsel also infers legal services lawyer. So, at this time, I'll call for a motion to enter into executive session. Motion by Mr. Lund, second by Mrs. Johns, to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing business agreement contract for special counsel services for the Braman Town Council. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sandbeck?
Yes.
Mr. Lund? Yes. Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Thank you. With that, your governing body will convene a special session. We'll return shortly and take a vote. We will invite Mr. Haynes into the executive session.
I got it. Well, I appreciate the compliments. Takes a long time, a lot of work, but hey, it's yeah, we got a little preparation today. Yeah, you guys see it. Yeah, we got paid out there selling hot today. At least you're right.
Straight down between the cabin and the hood. It wasn't that far, it was in there, and then if you just twist and roll this way and twist it that way.
I wish I didn't know he was doing that. I wouldn't sit on the front row and look backwards.
I readjusted.
I got think so. That's what they both commented on.
It's on the whole way.
No.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you? Good.
Oh, that fish was so good.
Was it?
I
saw that when I walked by.
Come here, like 20 seconds. We're having
I was down.
She showed me pictures of it.
We caught 99 in an hour and 15 minutes, 2 of us.
I like that.
And
Well, yeah.
Really? I thought you went down there.
No, that was my youngest brother.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we, that was the first thing. Second one, I got, this, I had to put that for
Yeah, obviously, that's not possible.
I like that, that's cool.
I don't have a picture of these people.
Right.
I put, and then you can, there's a place you can put that to go to like a bio.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not active yet. I don't have that target page. And then,
Definitely, yeah.
no, they didn't wait, they just
and then I put that here. City Hall, place. I didn't know any of those, so I don't have anything to go put down below this, but I'm going to say more great Braman. I don't know if that's available. But, and then I need actually adjust. This is the place where I yeah, I have some support.
Well, I was getting to that. I was letting you show me this before I talked to Brenda.
What do you need
Well, the fire department has this, used to be our
60 emergency. And that's what the red cut out.
have to have radar. So,
No, I know. You're talking about weather.
because both of us, I mean, I have certifications down real cold, and I know Donna's got certifications for weather radar. But we have that here right there. They so generously donated to us, but it doesn't respond. Well,
Just ask if they want to repurpose the computers. I've got computers all over my house.
we'll just have it on, we'll just have it for
You have to really raise
Yeah, I got this one now, and I've got the different microphones here, and I've got the this is video. There's two audio feeds. Actually, this one down to 7 ratings. The spike is in the red. But it's also recorded. So I'm also getting a hard copy This one's it's a little later. It's going more handle. You can see it for about 3 or 5 seconds. But I've got on the horn. It's not there yet. And yeah, it's on the home. It's on the home page. But it's also also a live stream. Here. sell stuff on it. Like if the town had like something like that, yeah, it ties to PayPal. Yeah, this is live, and I got the spray.
You got your upcoming events set up yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
Homecoming over there?
I put a picture of the thing, because I thought that was kind of a video. I got a...
I'm not part of that. I just.
Yeah, but this is where I could put like the calendar he was talking about, and there was one other thing, calendar and something they were talking about on the website.
Job posting?
Oh, the job posting. So like, well, that's what would be under events, but that would do that. The calendar could be here, and I could look somewhere. That could be like job or something. Employment. It looks great. And I can edit any of this. This is what I put together right off the bat. I stay busy pretty much with my job and stuff, but
I gave you a picture. I don't know if you want to put it on there or anything want to put it on there.
I got those pictures. I just haven't uploaded all of them. I've got a few of them up as like a test. Like this one for the background. And like I think that's just stained glass, or is that actually fake glass?
That is actually with stained glass.
Oh, but I was like, it looks like stained glass. I've only been here for 2 years, but I was like, man, I wonder what's up. I like history. That's one thing I also have to hear is I do history as a hobby. And I think it would be like put on your own website. Yeah. Yep, I got that's like rose marble. Yeah, I took a photo of the front and the back of it, and then yeah.
Because
oh, yeah.
There used to be a little post office. Bottom part there, the post office.
That's one thing I don't like. I wish they had an actual like smell gun. Not in town as far as
Yeah, you can get a Donna.
Well, I know that I can like get like UPS and FedEx and stuff.
No, you can have a mailbox put out in front of your door. It doesn't come to you on your porch, but they'll do it.
What about packages?
I don't know. Donna would know. What? Hang on, he has a question. I know you have the answer.
It looks like this is desktop. Yeah, here's the home page.
Please don't have it. I mean, I can put it on my.
And the live stream either. And the live stream. Yes,
This way, I can kind of see
and I've got some photos, like I have, if you can have that, you can navigate. Now, the photo those aren't active, but those are placeholders.
Answer this question.
That one does not. I thought there was no way we could actually mail delivery. You had to be on the outskirts of town or outside not facing fire department.
Yeah, it took forever though, because I guess the house had been empty, and then when it wasn't, they had a full box, so I had a mailbox for a month and never got his mail, and I we did. Well, then we called, and we did a forwarding. And we called, I didn't know they were only open 4 hours here, so I called Braman. And Braman told me to call Blackwell, but Blackwell was over here. Well, come to find out, because there's a mailbox there, the address was from the they never told me that. And so anyway, they had to add it to the address Bible. And I asked them, where is my mail? Oh, well, we have it. So where do you know? They had it last
Brown House Bridge.
That's where I
So is your address number?
That's 227.
Put Avenue on there.
Anyway, it took forever to get it out, and we finally got it. I got a whole bunch the first day. Well, because you gotta make sure you have that box, because if your electric bill comes back like that. Okay, so we're in a panic. But she told us when we come up to the video, you don't have a mailbox, your electric bill returns to us, I'll shut your electric bill. So we were in a panic, we weren't getting no mail, you know? It was great. That's how Blackwell was bad. That's what she told us. She said, known her as long as we have. Okay, those trees are on second. Like every day.
Oh, every one of
Not exactly.
walking around all over.
That's gonna be a sign that says, you wanna pay $12 we can take that off. But for now, since it's just kind of an idea, we're doing it on the website, and I've got employees on the website of I don't have photos of girls, so I had to that's Marv. And that's, Trustee Warren there. A link to his bio, they don't go anywhere yet. And then, I don't have anything.
My house sits and there's like empty, like the rest of my yard. Like, there's some great pictures of the railroad.
Yeah, look, town photos. Going around.
I saw you putting on the trail.
Inside, the background is town photos, I got some like City Hall. And then I only have a couple uploaded. I've got that's it. The other's a placeholder.
Hey, do the hat. If I give you I have to because it's usually out back when Randy walks down. It said the railroad, sunset, but you see the railroad tracks. It's right there. I was telling Margaret, I mean, but I'd be glad that somebody got there. I mean, it's something, I mean, those pictures are good. But something cool and also kind of.
Well, I need to get photos like for it's like town employees. I need to get pictures of those. And also city hall employees. I don't have any of those, so I'm gonna put photos in what position he comes out. Right. If you want, you can send us emails. You can email it to Braman, Oklahoma @gmail.com. Yeah, Braman, Oklahoma @gmail.com. And I have control of that. So I just made up so that I can make these. You have to have an email to make it, count like
Right, right. Well, I got that. That's all together?
All together.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Hey, where's your picture of the railroad? The one that we actually, the railroad crossing the sunset, whatever, where's it at?
It's on my Facebook.
I couldn't.
It's a straight line for
Where at?
I got one of them backwards, top sheet.
This is the actual like control different mics set up video feed. It was when everybody got up and started talking, this microphone was starting to get red. You can't have that, so I lowered it down so it wouldn't sound bad.
It is a little bit older.
You want to keep it at least the yellow. I didn't want it too low because I didn't want it like you not know anybody being able to hear on it. But we got two mics and this. Well, see, that's getting that, and I wanted to make sure that I could hear them at the desk. So we ran that. That's a direction, really good direction. Like, I wanted to do this top one. I believe it's the top one.
There's one out there.
That's the one.
that's the one that's hanging on our wall too.
Let's see which one spikes, and that's the one spiking.
Because
we kind of have to figure all that out.
Braman, Oklahoma at gmail.com if you want to send some pictures to him.
Pretty sure this one is the one that's because it's picking up pretty good amount of sound, and you can't see that one really good.
Scream into it.
Yeah, get close to that, the camera, and just kind of talk about it.
Who? I haven't seen her in ages.
Test, 1, 2. Do anything? Test.
Okay, I'm sending a message. No big deal, right? Send. I have never been told that, ever.
Them smartphones are good, aren't they?
Oh, gee. I never dreamt I would be too old for technology, but I'm done.
Me too.
Uh,
I've got one of those smartphones that just does things I'll never even attempt to do.
My kids get so tired of me asking questions. And I'm like, I taught you to eat with a spoon. It's like, what? Do the same thing time after time, and all at once it's not right.
Through there, turns through them out.
Only I'm sitting there going, you can't do it. I was
Just like that, because they don't believe it. They don't say things. They like each other to practice, but the way they I send off and turn that serial ring I told the guy, I said, well, I'll call my friend. He says, no, he doesn't want he's going to know. I said, this young man's head,
I'm glad you told me that, because I'd be going,
years ago, they don't have a shed or a side up.
and I go, really, which virus is that? And they just
Stimulus starts drops it, blows it out, and then it just starts.
We was talking about boilers, we were thinking about steel work, putting it in, and they
Carol was telling me about
Yeah, I was already thinking about checking. Oh, I did, it's open. Yeah, it is.
Last time I said it can't get any worse.
Right. Yeah, I did test it with test years. Then he just got in 2 weeks, he was and I, you know, I kept thinking, it's not good, you know, I mean, it was
else stood up.
They work in terrorism. I think they're
Testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2, testing.
That's my bottom.
Mic test, 1, 2, mic test.
voice in here right now.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody can hear for sure, all of them talking. And then these mics can just be working. This one, was new here. It looks a little awkward. Once they get those once they get those well, when I selected it, it also had a number. So I just didn't know what so much easier to noise. I was basically especially when he had the gavel. Oh, it was the bottom one. Which one's the bottom? Number 2. Yeah, that one. So that's see, I think when I reboot the program, I think it might be different each time, maybe. Maybe. Hopefully it stays. Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, before this meeting, I was talking about piece of paper that says live stream. I just think somebody get well, you can have a posting. Just a piece of paper for now, hey, heads up.
That's what I got. What I hear. I'm tidy up, boy.
They're for a while. At the edge of James. James, all you can see is the border of James Bar. Oh, that's the one with the fireworks. Okay. And, yeah, so then I Darlene took a little more of the crowd out. But what we need to do is probably push it back a bit. Get more crowd, but it is a good age. We got the first 3 rows. We got that one. Yeah, that's the main thing. What they say, what they're attach like a wireless mic, pass around a mic or something. Some of those, I don't know if they hurt or you can cross the street or not. Like, Darlene's was wild. I don't even know if she got hurt. Sometimes. I was thinking if they want, they can start getting those lapel mics. And they would have some solid audio from that. Yeah, that's cool. That would be cheap. Because if you like got one of those, the second one of those, you have to run the cord back this way and around. Along these next ones. Oh, you get a wireless one, yeah.
Saving money.
No more. That one right there, Mark told me he got that last year. It's like $200. And that's wired, so wireless. But today, I think, that's got it.
Yeah.
Here, how about that? Let me look and see what kind of wireless. I want to build a feed.
I couldn't load it back Well, you know, actually, I for computer systems. Oh, yeah, dude, look, we've got that. Plug that, put it on the table. Plug this is a computer, put it on the table. And that's only $31. And it's got pretty good stuff. Well, here's you can easily add it to the feed, so you can build the thing. First time I done that, not that. Great, now she'll come to me and then I
know, Clark Kent is on the walkie. I got done working well, we're having.
Yeah, I will. Well, later, boy, I should be
Yeah, it happens, you know.
Well, no.
Who can watch it? Anybody. Oh, really?
Yeah, actually,
This is the actual program I'm using.
You want that? Yeah, I know.
This page is the actual page I did. And then below is the town. And you can see whoever goes in, they can fix the foundation.
Did you like take in figures like to put, what do you call it? Virus protector on, go through and get rid of the
Clean them up and tune them up. Yeah, I have a list of things I like to do to tune up the PC.
One of them, it said, to what, it was cheap, but then I got home and it didn't have Windows 10 on it. Nothing, not much, a couple programs. And so I can't do anything that didn't have Windows 10 on it. And so that's why it's cheap over being in it.
Well, if you were able to log in, it's got something. It might have Windows 8, 7.
Oh, okay. Well,
It'll have an operator.
something.
It'll have an
Yeah.
operator.
Then I got a real old one, but I use it for everything. But I don't have a promotion to take it off.
I know the good stuff is free. Moto, Bobby Joe Buttons' house, 227, right across the street.
I'll bring them into you.
I'll clean them up and I'll throw some wood on there. I know so you can set the power. What I like to do is I like to go to the power setting. And under power options, you can tell the computer to set for high performance. And that'll help. That means your computer will use all the available electricity so it'll run faster. If you don't set it like that, it conserves energy by limiting things to run, and that slows the PC down. So that's the first one. And then I also want to make sure that the hard drive isn't set to ever go to sleep. Because that slows your PC down, because if it ever goes to sleep, you have to wait for it to spin back up. So I do that, and then I also make sure that when you're and then do that. And then you want to limit as many things as you don't want to bring up at start. That takes away from just but you can turn those off. And then if you're still needing a lot of performance, you can go to the computer and then look at your local hard drive. You can go into hard drive, right click it, go to properties, and it does allow. I'm not going to do it for the life of the screen, but I don't want to tax the system. But the sense is allow files in this hard drive to have the contents indexed. That means basically you're telling the computer, I want a log or a list of everything that's on the PC at all times. Okay? What that does is, the search bar up here, it makes that faster because it's got a list. It'll check that list. So it'll make things go very, very fast. The problem with that is a lot of people don't use that. Very rarely. So instead, you take this off. No indexing means the computer doesn't have to keep track of all those things. That makes the overall experience faster because you're not keeping all this. You can still use this. It's just a little slower. It's way better than taking off.
I've
never seen that.
Oh, she's here. She was just here. She just went to the restroom.
Katie.
Right. Board of reconvene at this time from executive session. The matter before the board in executive session was discussion, consideration, action regarding business agreement, contract for services for special counsel to the Braman Town Board of Trustees, specifically visiting with Mr. Stephen Haynes as the principal in this matter. At this time, I would move to entertain a motion.
I moved that we hire
Mrs. Johns has made the motion that we hire Mr. Haynes as special counsel to the Braman Town Board. I would move to entertain a second to that motion. Mr. Lynn, second. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Johns? Yes. Mr. Lund?
Yes.
Mr. Sandbeck?
Yes. By unanimous vote, Mr. Haynes, congratulations, sir, and thank you. Mr. Haynes is now special counsel to the... We have completed this marathon, and I thank you for your patience. Our next meeting is the 7th of this month, seems just a few days from now. And we will have some, remember, we will have some continuation items on that agenda from previous days. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 9:29 p.m. Mr. Lund has made that motion, and Mrs. Johns has made the second. Roll call vote.
Mrs. Johns? Yes. Mr. Lund?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. I'll do a better job on my day.
Mr. Hayes?
No.
How did I know that was coming?
Thank you again.
Would you like to just take the Blackwell article and change the Blackwell?
We were in the mess and we need things changed so badly.
You know, I'm happy that you've got some resources to share.
Well, as a veteran journalist myself, I thought you might have some guys.